Picture a routine courtroom morning shattered by a single slap. A white cop strikes a black man, thinking he's nobody, only to learn he's the judge. His calm response unleashes a storm that exposes a corrupt system. Watch this powerful story of justice unfold. In a courtroom, a white officer struck a black man across the face, later discovering he was the judge. He didn't shout. He didn't retaliate. He simply met her gaze, and her world began to collapse. What unfolds when the person you dismissed holds ultimate authority? If you've ever wondered how justice triumphs quietly, leave a comment below and share where you're watching from. Now, let's reveal the moment one act unveiled a flawed system. The morning was meant to be ordinary. Courtroom 2, B, in Franklin County. Courthouse hummed with the soft rhythm of legal proceedings. The bailiff sipped his second coffee. A young public defender sorted through her files, while the defendant, a 17-year-old boy, sat still, hands clasped, eyes flicking between the clock and the exit. A minor drug charge, nothing remarkable. A routine hearing that typically fades without notice. Then she entered. Officer Laura Bennett. To some, she embodied order, decorated, admired, her uniform immaculate. To others, who recalled her name from unresolved complaints, she was the system's iron grip. She ignored the clerk. She didn't glance at the judge's bench. She surveyed the room as if it were hers, her gaze fixed on something. A tall black man, well-dressed, stood by the witness stand. He spoke softly with an attorney, hands behind his back, demeanor relaxed, non-threatening. Yet Laura's jaw clenched. She took 5 rigid steps across the courtroom, and then it happened. She slapped him, a forceful strike across the face. The sound cut through the room like a gunshot in a chapel. A gasp echoed. A woman in the back gripped her chest. A boy in the front row murmured, "Did that really happen?" Papers scattered. A pen rolled across the floor, untouched. The court reporter's hands froze on her machine. The room stilled, not in confusion, but in shock. The man stood unmoving, then adjusted his tie, touched his cheek, and faced her. "I'm Judge William Carter," he said, voice low but firm. "I'll preside over this court today." The silence that followed wasn't mere quiet. It was electric. It weighed on every person like a heavy cloak. You could sense breaths held, eyes afraid to blink. Laura didn't speak. Her mouth parted slightly, then closed. Her eyes darted to the bench, the clerk, the onlookers. Her breathing hitched. Her face didn't redden. It paled. In her mind, the slap had seemed justified. For a moment, she thought she'd quelled a disturbance, restored control. But now, she questioned what control meant. She looked to the bailiff, expecting support, but he averted his gaze, and reality struck. No one was stepping in to defend her. In the front row, a 27-year-old public defender subtly reached for her phone. She didn't lift it high, just enough to record. Then another phone, then another. 4 devices capturing, silent, intentional. William didn't summon security. He didn't raise his voice or flaunt his title. He simply said, "We'll take a 10-minute recess," and walked away. His footsteps echoed louder than any sound in that moment. Behind him, Laura Bennett stood frozen, her right hand trembling faintly, not from fear, but from dawning awareness. A woman in the back rose to leave, then reconsidered, and sat, eyes wide. The teenage defendant leaned forward, staring not at the judge, but at Laura. His lips didn't move, but his eyes said it all. This changes everything. Even the walls seemed to listen. Outside the courtroom, the building continued as if nothing had occurred. But in room 2B, history had split open. Not with a gavel, but with a slap. Courtroom 2B didn't regain its calm. Even after Judge Carter vanished into his chambers, The room couldn't exhale. The air grew thick. The silence shifted from shock to realization. Something permanent had occurred, and no one knew how to proceed. The teenage defendant fidgeted, glancing at the gallery, then the bailiff, as if questioning, "Is this how it works?" Laura Bennett remained still. Her right hand, the one she'd used, quivered slightly at her side. Not obvious to all, but enough for her to feel. From the back, a whisper came. "Did she just do that?" Another voice, hushed, replied. "She hit a judge in his own court." The words spread like smoke, soft, pervasive, impossible to grasp. You could feel the room's balance shift, silent judgments and exchanged glances, the sudden awareness of phones still recording. Then someone spoke, not loudly, but clearly enough. She struck the presiding judge. It didn't matter who said it. The words hit like a gavel strike. By the time Judge Carter's door closed, the first video was uploading. Unedited raw footage of a white officer in uniform slapping a black man, only to learn he was the judge. Within an hour, it spread across Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. By the second hour, it had a name. Cop slaps judge. Didn't know he was judge. Comments flooded in instantly. She assumed he was a defendant. That's the issue. Not a mistake. That's instinct. Explain how racism isn't baked into the system. In the hallway, Officer Bennett finally stirred. She didn't speak or seek guidance. She stood, face rigid, breaths shallow. A young male officer tried to meet her gaze, but she turned away before he could speak. She felt it. The ground beneath her was unsteady. In Judge Carter's chambers, all was calm. The room was simple. Dark wood shelves, a coffee maker in the corner, a photo of his 3 sons at graduation. No grand desk, no towering books, just a quiet space for reflection. Carter sat at his desk. For a moment, he did nothing. He didn't sigh or check his phone. He sat, elbows on armrests, hands clasped, staring into space. A soft knock broke the quiet. His clerk, Michelle Harper, entered, holding a folder meant for earlier. She said nothing at first. Her eyes studied his face, searching for emotion. "You all right?" she asked. He looked up slowly. His face was composed, not distant, but present. "I'm okay," he replied. She paused, then stepped inside, shutting the door. "We need to file something," she urged. "Press charges, the videos everywhere." He nodded once, leaning forward, forearms on the desk. "We could," he said. "But I want to see how the system responds first." Michelle blinked. "The police department?" He nodded again. "The entire system." She stared, brows furrowing. "You're just going to wait?" He didn't waver. "I need to know if it still dodges accountability, acts only when watched, or expects silence to fix its mess." Michelle crossed her arms, shifting her stance. "That's risky." "I know." They sat in silence briefly. Then Michelle set the folder on his desk. "For what it's worth," she said. "You handled it better than I could." Carter gave a faint, weary smile. You don't survive long in public defense without learning to stay calm. Outside, the courthouse became a pressure cooker. The media hadn't arrived, but rumors had. Clerks texted friends. Interns updated chats. A stenographer called her media contact. In the courtroom, the public defender sent the video to 3 advocacy groups. Officer Bennett stood alone by the stairwell, back rigid, arms stiff. Her uniform, once a symbol of authority, felt heavy, out of place for someone who'd crossed a line. No badge could justify it. Her jaw tightened as she checked her phone. 5 missed calls, 2 from the precinct, 1 from her union rep, 1 from her sister, 1 unknown. She stared at the screen, thumb hovering, but didn't call back. The truth hadn't fully sunk in, but her body sensed it. She'd made an unshielded mistake, and all had witnessed it. Before that courtroom moment, Laura Bennett was the department's pride, a model of tough policing. She graduated the academy at 22, too young to rent a car, but marked for rapid promotion. Tall, intense, unflinching, she thrived on late-night patrols in rough areas. She spoke little, acted swiftly. That drew notice. Within a year, she joined narcotics. 2 years later, a tactical unit targeting gangs. By 26, Laura was on posters. A Women in Law Enforcement campaign featured her, uniform sharp, sunglasses on, arms crossed by a cruiser. The public saw a star. Insiders saw invincibility. Complaints arose early. A black teen said Laura slammed him onto a squad car for backtalk during a stop. He had no record. His mother filed a complaint. It vanished within days. Then, a grocery store incident. A Latina mother with 2 kids pulled from her minivan, accused of shoplifting. No evidence, no cause. She cried. Laura shrugged. No body cam footage surfaced. She was aggressive, a dispatcher later said, but it was resolved. Tom Sullivan saw it differently. At 29, new to District 4, he rode with Laura. She acted like she had to prove herself. It wasn't justice, Tom said years later. It was control. He recalled a night near the train yards. A black officer, new to the team, questioned Laura's rough frisk of a teen loitering by a gas station. Laura stayed silent in the meeting, but later shoved him against a locker. Tom saw it from a corner. The officer didn't resist, just walked away. I should have spoken up, Tom told Internal Affairs years later. But you don't challenge the system to stay in it. He thought it was a one-off. It wasn't. Records, those not erased, showed a pattern. From 2012 to 2019, Laura faced 16 complaints. Excessive force, racial bias, illegal searches. Only 1 passed initial review. None led to discipline. Why? Her name carried clout. She was the go-to for tough operations, the hammer, and backed by Chief Robert Hayes. At a 2020 precinct banquet, he praised her. Some hesitate in chaos, not Laura. She does the hard, unpopular work. Privately, it was clearer. She followed orders, kept quiet, silenced others. Rumors swirled. She held files, overheard secrets, seen misdeeds. At precinct barbecues, she'd hint, "Think I don't know where the bodies are buried? Half this place sleeps because I hold their secrets." People chuckled, but cautiously. The public didn't see her impunity, protected by the system. She didn't fear Internal Affairs. Probes went nowhere. She wasn't a flaw in the system. She was its creation. Even Tom, retired, couldn't say if she was cruel or molded. She joined a broken department, he said later. Instead of fixing it, she climbed it. Why didn't he speak sooner? I tried once, he admitted. An anonymous complaint about her force. Next week, desk duty for 9 months. So he stayed silent, like others. Now, as the SLAP video went viral, Tom watched from his kitchen, mouth agape, spoon over oatmeal. His wife froze at the screen. "That's her," Tom said, voice empty. "She went too far," his wife whispered. He nodded. And now, everyone knows. Inside the department, phones rang. Urgent emails piled up. For once, no playbook existed. Standard lines. Investigation ongoing. Context needed. Felt hollow. This time, no ambiguity. The evidence only needed replay. Judge William Carter's home was quiet that evening. No lights, just a warm lamp by the window. Ellen always left it on for late nights. He removed his shoes, set down his briefcase, and sank into the couch's end. For a moment, he sat in silence. No TV, no music, just stillness. Slowly, he opened his phone and played the video. It wasn't his first view, but now he watched differently. Not as a judge, not as the slapped man, but as someone grasping the moment's weight. There it was. The courtroom, the slap, her hand, his cheek, the room's air shifting. He didn't flinch on screen, but now he exhaled deeply, unaware he'd held his breath. The power wasn't in the act. It was in his calm. His eyes left the screen. For a moment, he was 28, post-law school, in a precinct hallway, politely noting a client's rights weren't read. A white officer sneered. "You talk smart for a street kid." Carter smiled, not from acceptance, but survival. Silence was survival before the bar, before court. Other moments lingered. A partner called his tie too loud. A judge dubbed him young man past his counsel title. A juror avoided his gaze. He fought unseen battles, not with anger, but restraint. He valued effectiveness over being right. Soft footsteps approached. Ellen entered, robed, with 2 tea mugs. She didn't ask about his day. She sat, handed him a mug, and watched the screen. After a minute, she said softly, "You should have had her cuffed." Carter didn't reply instantly. He set his mug down, hands clasped. "She was wrong," Ellen said. "On camera. That deserved arrest." He nodded slowly. "I know." She faced him. "Then why not?" He met her gaze, eyes calm, tired, clear. "I didn't want to be the story," he said. "Her violence shouldn't force me to perform. I'm not here to punish her. I'm here to see how the system reacts when exposed." Ellen leaned back, holding her mug. "You're not angry." "I'm angry," he said quietly. "But I won't play victim so they can punish a rogue instead of fixing the system that shaped her." He paused. She didn't act on impulse. She was taught a black man in a suit couldn't be the judge. Silence, heavy, unforced. Ellen touched his hand. "You carry it better than me," she said. "I don't carry it," he replied. "I just won't drop it where they can't grasp its weight." They sat together. The video looped. He didn't replay it. Outside, the world raged. News, headlines, social media fury. The story went national. But in that room, the true story was a man who could rage, but chose control, knowing power lies in restraint. The next day, news continued. Clips, reactions, panels, op-eds. But that night, Judge William Carter stayed quiet. Not for lack of words, but because silence spoke louder. By morning, the video was dubbed "Slap the Judge." No outlet or activist coined it. Just a hashtag under a shaky video, shared until it became a moment. Not just shock, but a mirror. The clip was raw, undeniable. A white officer striking a black man, learning he was the judge. Some gasped, others didn't. To many black and brown Americans, it wasn't shocking. It was exposed. When the hidden is seen, voices rise. A Latina mother, Lisa Marie 72, commented online. "She did this to me in 2016, dragged me from my car before my kids, said I parked suspiciously. I reported it. No footage." Her comment gained 200 likes, then 800. A news outlet contacted her. By the next day, she was on a podcast, voice shaky, recalling her 10-year-old asking, "Why's the police lady mad, Mama?" A former student shared next. "Stopped near campus." No cause. Laura's dash cam voice. "College kids think they're untouchable. Clean record. Yet he spent a night in holding." Charges dropped. No apology. His grainy clip joined the courtroom video, captioned, "Same badge, same attitude, different targets." Voices grew, not loud, but patterned. In the department, tension split walls like cracked plaster. HR emails surged, voicemails overflowed, union reps paced, confidence gone. Officer Brett Holden sat in his car outside Precinct HQ, staring at the wheel. Neither rookie nor veteran, 15 years on, mostly silent. He'd worked with Laura, shared briefings, break room pizza. Not close, but not bold enough to oppose her. She'd called him weak for sparing a homeless vet a citation. He'd laughed, stayed quiet. Now her face looped on news, eyes wild post-SLAP, and he wondered what his silence built. That night, Brett didn't sleep. He drafted an email to his captain, erased it, redrafted, never sent. He pulled an old report from a drawer, one where he'd covered for her. One line, Officer Bennett followed protocol. He wrote it. Now he doubted it. In the city, Laura Bennett fought back, not with force, but stories. She called a conservative talk show to plead her case. The host, once warm, was cold. On air, her voice wavered. He didn't look like he belonged. No introduction. He moved suddenly. But the video showed no threat, just her bias, her SLAP. Supporters quieted. The show cut early. The host tweeted, "Waiting for facts, code for abandonment." At home, Laura sat in silence. No uniform, just sweatpants. Blinds shut. A news van waited outside. Her supervisor didn't answer. Her union rep ignored her text. Her precinct chat went silent. In that quiet, she recalled a 17-year-old girl suspected of shoplifting. The girl cried. Laura laughed, called it tactics. No one questioned her. Now she wondered if that girl saw the video, shared her tale. The silence she'd wielded now trapped her. It didn't shout. It whispered, "You're seen." The hearing wasn't hidden or delayed. It was held in the Franklin County Civic Center, seating over 200, nearly full. Citizens, reporters, observers, ex-arrestees, officers, some uniformed, some not, lined the walls, arms crossed, faces tense. A table held 7 panelists, a retired judge, an activist, a civil rights lawyer, a union rep, a pastor, a former defender. Ms. Evelyn Rogers chaired, small but commanding. At 9:30 a.m., she struck her gavel. "This isn't a trial," she said. "It's an inquiry into Officer Laura Bennett's conduct and her fitness to serve in a system that enabled her." Testimonies began. Daniel Brooks spoke first, unexpected. 46, clean-shaven, blue shirt, faint smile. 15 years ago, Laura arrested him for robbery. He served 8 years until exonerated. "I was walking home from work," he said, voice controlled. "Late shift at a metal shop. She said I matched a suspect." He glanced at Laura, stone-faced. "Found a screwdriver in my pocket. Called it a weapon. Said I seemed nervous. I was exhausted, juggling 2 jobs for my son." Silence gripped the room. I told the truth. Her report said I confessed. I didn't. That lie cost me 8 years. My son was 6, then 14 when I returned. He swallowed. She never looked back. Stories followed. A student, now 30s, tackled in a mix-up. A black man pulled from his car at gunpoint for suspicious driving near home. A mother's daughter, humiliated for unproven theft. No charges, no regret. Laura sat, unmoved, silent, unprotected. The chairwoman spoke. "We've heard planned testimonies," she said. But one name was added. She tapped her pen. "Judge William Carter." A soft gasp rippled. Not shock, but weight. Carter walked slowly, no notes. He stood by the table, hands folded, gazing out. "I'm not here to ruin anyone," he began. "That's not why I took this role, or stay." His voice was steady, a presence. "I'm here because truth counts. Power without accountability breeds violence. Silence enables it." He looked at Laura. "The slap didn't hurt me physically. It hurt because she couldn't see me as the judge. It hurts more knowing this wasn't her first rush to judge." He faced the room. "I seek no revenge. I'm here to show what justice should feel like. Never again like this." A pause. Justice isn't fear, punishment, or control. It's truth, dignity, restraint we show because we can, not force we use because we want. No cheers, just quiet. Laura's face cracked briefly. Her jaw tightened, fingers twitched. A first break, not in the system, but in her. After a recess, the panel returned. Unanimous. Immediate, permanent removal from the force. Badge revoked. Pension under review. No charges yet. The room didn't cheer. This wasn't triumph, but reckoning, rarely joyful. Headlines surged that night. But Holmes remembered Carter's words, his calm, his warning. The courtroom, long a grave for truths, became their rising ground. The decision was plain, undramatic. The board removes Officer Laura Bennett from the Franklin County Police Department, effective immediately. No gavel, no cuffs, just a signed paper, heavy with the unsaid. Laura didn't argue. She didn't blink. She stood, nodded, and left the Civic Center like exiting a routine meeting. Not a career, not a legacy. At Precinct HQ, the mood shifted. No eyes met as she took the side entrance, avoiding reporters. She climbed the stairs, past vending machines, walked the hall of plaques. Her photo hung for now. Her locker held little. Half-used aspirin, worn boots, a K9 unit photo from simpler days. She packed a box. No badge. It was gone. Her uniform stayed hung. She left in jeans, a gray hoodie, aged by days. No goodbyes. Not from Officer Blake, who saved her seats. Not Lieutenant Monroe, who called her essential. Not her desk mate, eyes fixed on his screen. Once, the hammer. Now a shadow in a space that had moved on. No cameras caught her exit. She drove a borrowed car. Hers was vandalized and left in silence. No party, no speech, just erasure. By evening, her profile was offline. Email gone. Badge inactive. Record sealed. She faded from trends. Another scandal rose. But Franklin County changed, subtly. The courthouse remembered. The community did, too. Her name, once feared, was barely whispered. A fallen symbol doesn't break. It fades. Quiet. Final. Laura wasn't toppled by protests, lawsuits, or Carter. She fell when protection vanished. It wasn't sudden. No sirens, no banners. But look closely, and it showed. Franklin County's system shifted. Slowly. Clearly. A Chief Justice memo mandated real bias training, not superficial. A review board reopened old complaints, settled some, signaling no more ignored cases. Sarah Jane Mitchell emerged, a defender turned advocate. She'd watched Carter's court as a student, noting his precision, his refusal to perform. Now she joined the county's oversight panel, not for ties, but conviction. On day one, she set down a folder. People they forgot. With names, dates, unanswered questions. At a town hall, the rec center filled with diverse faces. Old, young, black, white, immigrant, veteran. Curious, bitter, tired. Carter sat in the back, listening. A 70-year-old woman stood. Gray curls, floral scarf, glasses slipping. "I don't want apologies," she said. "I want policy." The room hushed. "I raised 3 boys here. All stopped for nonsense. Biking at dusk, carrying a backpack, fitting a description." She breathed. "Don't say it's better. Prove it. Write it." Murmurs agreed. Someone whispered, "That's justice's sound." The phrase lingered, repeated softly. Justice isn't headlines. It's hearings that hear. Files reopened, rookies questioning orders. Judge Carter resumed his bench quietly. Same courtroom, same worn gavel. But now, his entrance brought a hush. Not fear, but respect for what he didn't do. He didn't seek vengeance or fame. He waited, let silence work. In Summer's End, Sarah Jane Mitchell drafted policy. Tougher officer oversight, whistleblower safeguards, a clear rule. No camera, no excuse for no accountability. It passed unanimously. Carter didn't attend. He was in chambers, writing a memo. When told, he smiled slightly, eyes crinkling. He glanced at his son's fishing photo, Then a plaque. Justice doesn't shout. It needs listeners who never stop. In Franklin County, justice didn't roar. It whispered, and the system listened. If this story moved you, like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Mr. Mac's Stories. Justice isn't loud, but it speaks through those who stand firm. Your support keeps these stories alive.